The world is weak, soft. We have forgotten what it is to be strong. You know, our heroes used to be gods, and now our heroes are godless, weak, feeble, diseased. We let the weak dictate to the powerful, and then we are shocked to find ourselves adrift. But history knows the value of sacrifice, of culling the herd so that it stays strong.
Many years ago, the famous singer John Denver sung the song The Eagle and the Hawk. And the beginning of this song goes something like this: I am the eagle, I live in high country, in rocky cathedrals that reach to the sky. I am the hawk, and there is blood on my feathers. Now, a hawk will slaughter a chicken. A hawk will pounce on a chicken, grab it with its talons, and tear it to shreds. John Denver is not talking about the gentle side of nature. John Denver is romanticizing and mysticizing the ruthlessness of nature. And you can hear this song and you can, just romanticize it all you want. Oh, it's so mystical. It's talking about the transcendence and the beauty of nature. It's connecting us to the eternal, the eternal characteristic of the phenomena of the planet and of nature and of wildlife. The reality is that the song is a guy saying that I am the hawk and there is blood on my feathers. I just got done slaughtering something. And this song, it's beautifully sung. I'm not going to take that away from it, but the song is really a nasheed for eco-fascists. It's a song for eco-fascism. It's like the anthem for eco-fascism. I am like this bird of prey. It's like saying I am the lion. I just got done slaughtering some poor gazelle's little baby. And this is the beauty of nature. It is a song that mysticizes social Darwinism. And this is really the reality of these types of ideological movements that focus on the planet and the environment. And a lot of this stuff is just covering up eco-fascism. It really is a pretext for eco-fascism. The planet is dying. Who's the enemy? Humans. And so humans need to be, humans need to be culled like herds, like cattle, like livestock. And so this is the true evil nature of environmentalism. Now, I have nothing against helping the environment. All of you guys who have been following me for years, you guys know that I love to garden. I love nature. I love planting trees. Actually, just today, I ran into some literally wild fig trees. And I'm still shocked as to how these things popped up in the middle of a very, very rugged meadow terrain. But they're there, and I'm actually planning on going over there and, getting these little baby fig trees and, planting them in my own yard. Something just popped up on my phone. Good grief! What a freaking annoyance. Anyway, so I have no problem with helping nature, but there is most definitely an evil side to this environmentalist movement. And this leads me to a piece of news that popped up very recently. It is talking about a guy by the name of Ken Turnage. And Ken Turnage is he is a city official in the city of Antioch, which is in the Bay Area, where I was born and raised. I am a native Californian, and what this guy said, honestly, given the fact that he is a Californian, specifically from the Bay Area, where I grew up and spent a large portion of my life, what this man said does not really surprise me, given how wacky Northern California is. It's essentially, because you're in South California, Southern California is a different culture from Northern California. Southern California is like, it's very much influenced by Mexican culture, so you have that Spanish feel to it, a lot of Spanish vibes in the air. Then, of course, you got the surfing culture, and then, of course, you have a lot of the weird things that you'll see in a place like Bakersfield or Los Angeles. But when you go to Northern California, you're essentially in that transitioning point towards Oregon and Seattle and Washington State. So things get a little bit special, to put it nicely. So this Ken Turnage guy essentially said that coronavirus is great because it's going to kill off all of the injured, the elderly, and the weak. I mean, when are you going to put the SS uniform on and give yourself a freaking German name? Like, really? But let's look at some of the quotes from this psychopath. So he said, we would have significant loss of life. We would lose many elderly. That would reduce burdens in our defunct Social Security system. Because, care costs, once the wave subsided, make jobs available for others. And it would also free up housing, in which we are in dire need of. We would lose a large portion of the people with immune and other health complications. I know it would be loved ones as well, but that would once again reduce our impact on medical, jobs, and housing. So, kill off a bunch of people? Good. When are you going to start speaking German? And then he also said, quote, the world has been introduced to a new phrase, herd immunity, which is a good one. In my opinion, we need to adapt a herd mentality. A herd gathers, it ranks, it allows the sick, the old, the injured to meet its natural course in nature. Kill the elderly and the weak. Then we have our other sectors, such as our homeless and other people who just defile themselves by either choice or mental issues. This would run rampant through them, and yes, I am sorry, but this would fix what is a significant burden on our society and resources that can be used. Purge out society of the unwanted and those who are burdens to the body politic and the species. We have to follow what the prophet Charles Darwin said. There is no God but natural selection, and Charles Darwin, peace be upon him, is his messenger. What you are seeing is a fanatic about the cause of Malthusianism, a fanatic of the cause of Darwinism. And well, thankfully, this guy was ousted from his position as a city official. And I'm pretty sure what this guy is thinking. I'm pretty sure he's thinking, all you liberal left-wingers are all just a bunch of cuck weakling snowflakes who can't handle the truth. You're so sensitive you can't handle the reality that, yes, certain people need to be purged from society, and a disease is doing the job. We got to kill off the weak and the elderly. They are a burden to our financial infrastructure. Don't you understand it? Now, the Daily Kos recently did an article on this guy saying that he is a Republican. They affirm that this guy is a Republican. And the Daily Kos is pretty left-wing, and I understand that they're biased. I couldn't find any other publications saying that he is a Republican. But what I will say is that he sure as hell sounds like one. Because Republicans, well, let's just say that they have gone a long ways from President Eisenhower, who was a Republican and who also did a lot of good things because the United States was going through a lot of difficult economic times, and he even had a welfare department to help the poor. He was nothing like these Republicans today, who honestly are, not all of them, but are quite absent of humanity. A lot of Republicans are vacuous of humanity and compassion. Not all of them, but a lot of these types. And I think that, see, here's the problem, is that there is a very, very popular narrative that says that Democrats were eugenists and that Democrats are still eugenists. And I would say that there is no doubt that the Democrat Party has a strong history of racism and eugenics. There's absolutely no doubt about this. It is historically Just a fact. But the Republicans today, they refuse to acknowledge the historical reality that a lot of Republicans back in the day were also eugenists. And just like Democrats, today they are a lot of Republicans who are indeed psychopaths, and they are eugenists. Not just eugenists, but just pure demons, really. Just look at our friend Alex Jones. I did a video on him last night, and he was talking about how he wants to eat his neighbor, cook him up, string him up, eat his flesh, and all that stuff. There are a lot of psychopaths in the Republican Party, and the problem is that a lot of people, they want everything to be one side or the other. Are you a Republican or are you a Democrat? And if you criticize the Republicans, you are automatically accused of being a left-wing snowflake cuck or a communist or something to the likes of that. And if you criticize the Democrat Party, then, oh, you must be a fascist or a right-wing, brown shirt or something like that. There is a country that has this an intense level of this type of thinking. It's called Spain. One thing I notice about Spaniards, and I'm not trying to generalize, but this is an actual problem in Spanish society, is if you, let's say, defend Christian principles or Catholic principles, there are a lot of people in Spain who will accuse you of being a fascista, a fascist, because they were back in the days of the Spanish Civil War, 1930s, there were a lot of fascists who called themselves Catholics. And that's the type of mentality that we really need to stay away from, because if we are going to reform the current system of the United States, one thing that we have to do, and this is imperative, is we have to give credit to where credit is due and to criticize when criticism is deserved. If the Democrats do something good, if a Democrat says something that is true or does something that is righteous, we have to acknowledge that. And we have to say, hey, there are Democrats here who do believe in good things and do want to do good things. For example, really one of the things that I agree with the Democrats the most is in the area of immigration. When Democrats say, hey, we can't be putting refugee children in cages, we can't deny people the right to claim asylum, we should have compassion on refugees and immigrants, we should have some sort of programs to help refugees and immigrants. I agree with that. And when Republicans get enraged at that and say, oh, you just want to help the invasion of America, or you just want to kill off all the white people in America, I look at those Republicans and I say, you guys are psychopaths. When a Republican says that we have to respect the right to life, and that means protecting the unborn, I completely agree with that. And when the Democrat says, oh, you hate women and you're just a sexist and you're a chauvinistic fascist, that Democrat is a psychopath. And to the Republican, I would say, if you really want to fight for the right to life, I'm right there with you. That includes fighting for the right to life for those who are crossing the border, for the refugee, for the immigrant, for the migrant. I am pro-life, regardless if the person is in the womb or if the person is so desperate in his own country that he wants to illegally cross the border. I'm pro-life in all those respects. But the problem is that everything has to be so black and white, and if you don't choose a side, you are considered to be a traitor by both sides. And that is what's so crazy. But the reality is that people like Ken Turnage, there are plenty of people like this. And you find them in the ranks of the Republican Party. And it really does give you an idea as to how a lot of these Republican types, these right-wing fanatic types, really see us. Because what Ken Turnage said here, it's not too far off from what people like Glenn Beck believe. Because didn't Glenn Beck say, hey, send all the 50-somethings to go out and work and die? a lot of Republicans have been saying, yeah, go to work, go to the factories, go to the meat packing plants. It doesn't matter how many people die. That the governor of I want to say South Dakota, her last name is Noem, Governor Noem. She said, hey, I'm not going to stop work. Let all these workers go to the factories. Doesn't matter if they die. And you can say, well, she just wants to protect the economy. But look at what this Ken Turnage guy says. Allowing these people to die would purge us of the weak, of the injured, of the elderly. And the doctors who are experts on coronavirus say it's going to kill the weak, those who have weak immunity. It's going to kill the injured, those who have already, pre-existing conditions. It's going to kill the elderly. And Governor Noem and those like her, they don't give a damn. Because in the religion of the GDP, there is the underlying religion of it all, and that is Darwinism. So think about that when you look at these types of people. Anyway, hope you guys have learned something from this message. Hope you guys have enjoyed something from this message. You guys just heard some theology. God bless.